The clouds parted just long enough for our Winter Sky Festival, but now there's a storm brewing in the west, and it's no longer safe to be outside. I'm the lone transmitter, and coming to you live from Yellowbrook City, you're listening to Wasteland Free Radio. So yeah, a few things quick. Weatherbot 95 sent me a message a little while ago warning me about a storm brewing in the west. And no, this isn't the acid rain from a few weeks ago. We already dealt with the acid rain, only a few people melted. Not a big deal. I'm not sure, but this looks a lot like nuclear fallout. Weatherbot 95 is safe, and he's usually not susceptible to fallout. He is a robot, after all. So don't worry about him. He's gonna stay put in Lithium City and recharge his battery anyway. He'll head back after the storm passes, and this storm looks like it's gonna be a big one. But remember, inside the protective dome, we are safe. Anyway, I got to check out the Winter Sky Festival for a minute, and what a view! It reminded me of my time on the road, while I traveled the Radlands before I lived under the ash cloud or the protective dome. Sure, I was scared for my life a lot, and I got sick like all the time. And I had to run away from like 50 families of cannibals, but whatever. But at least I could always see the stars, you know? So I went out to the Little League Park because, like I said, it's the best place to see it. And I hadn't been there in a while, at least a couple weeks. But I wanted to check on the pups. You remember, those dogs that live inside that beaten-up Chevy Corsica? My dream car? With its power windows and bucket seats? The height of Japanese and American pre-Great Devastation luxury. Anyway, I figured the dogs would have grown at least a little bit. But I did not expect them to grow multiple eyes, and oh my god, they are just so cute. I do have a favorite, of course. I've named him Triborx, because he always barks 3 times when he sees me and runs away. It won't be long before they outgrow their little starter home and upgrade to something with a moonroof, but I'm so happy I saw them one more time before they move on. I'm not really worried about them being okay during this storm, mostly because they're dogs and their instincts will take over and they're going to stay safe inside the Corsica. They're smart enough to do that. That's more than I can say for some of the people out there. So the first day of the Sky Festival was perfect, and we were supposed to pay attention to the stars. And we did. But the second night of the Sky Festival was a little bit different. I have never seen the broken moon so close before. I swear, it was like it was right overhead. So close you could almost touch it. It's, not supposed to be this close, I think. So I was kind of freaking out a little bit. Weatherbot 95 said I needed to refill my coolant tank before I overheat or blow a fuse. I can never really tell when he's joking. Like, he knows humans don't have fuses or coolant tanks. I mean, I guess some of us aren't technically human, but cybernetic implants haven't relied on fuses since way before the Great Devastation. And I don't think mine have fuses. So, the stars were cool, the moon is way too big right now, and the dogs were my favorite part of the festival. I'm sure none of you were surprised. Of course, the moon being directly overhead and closer to Earth than expected has led to some interesting developments. I don't know how many of you were science savvy, and the laws of physics have changed somewhat ever since the Great Devastation, but the moon is responsible in a large way for the tides on the planet, and the moon being so close to us right now has made the tides completely turn. Normally that wouldn't be a problem, because the ocean is hundreds of miles away. Now it's right on our doorstep. We all know this isn't the first time giant tidal waves have been a problem for society, After all, New York City was completely destroyed by tidal waves once. That can't happen again, fortunately, mostly because New York City doesn't exist anymore. Fortunately, we've only run into really high waves, which has led to an increase in surfer population, so if you're a surfer, or you want to become a surfer, go ahead and find a piece of wreckage that looks like a surfboard, and go hang 11 off of some really choice waves, brah. Right here in our very own Yellowbrook City surf shop. We actually don't have a surf shop yet, so I'm not gonna read an ad or anything like that, but like, if you're a surfer, come on down to Yellowbrook City. We actually have some waves for you. Alright, so I did as the Courier asked, and I left them a message in the robot graveyard. Which, by the way, the robot graveyard got a lot bigger. I don't know why. Like, there are at least 30 more junkers, and I don't know where they're coming from. The war's over. The war has been over for a long time. But this was pretty unsettling. Weatherbot 95 would have lost his hydraulics if he had been there with me. So, I asked the Courier for an interview. I don't think I'll hear back for a while. I mean, if they're from the glowing shore, like they said, that means they're at least 20 days away if they're home. But I get the feeling they travel a lot. So, I don't know. They said we shared similar goals. I don't know what they mean by that, but I guess we could discuss those goals while they're here. And maybe they could clue me in on what that secret code is that I couldn't figure out. I still have no idea. I also wouldn't mind getting another look at that giant two-headed horse of theirs. That creature was beautiful, mystifying, and inspiring. We don't see a lot of wildlife anymore. It's hard enough to get food for humans, but they're able to take care of a two-headed horse on top of it? Unbelievable. Local authorities have started a campaign to rename our Nukeball mascot. Now, we are the Yellowbrook Tanners, as I'm sure you all know, but we haven't tanned leather in a few 100 years, so I understand why somebody might want to make a change. I do like the idea of paying respect to our past, but coming up with a new name isn't really a bad idea. The bad idea is naming us the Yellowbrook City Humans. I know. Could you imagine anything more offensive? Now, I know that I've increased my broadcast range, and some of you have probably never even heard of Nukeball, so this doesn't even matter. And I hope that most of you have never heard of the local authorities outside of this show either, because if I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of a pain. They don't understand what it means to be a resident of Yellowbrook City or this area in general, but here's the real issue. I don't know if it's in their programming or if it's in their DNA or what, but they can't seem to understand that we are not all humans. We've got mutants, cyborgs, and robots here in Yellowbrook. So, no. I don't think we should call our Nukeball team the Humans. I'm not sure who put them in charge of our Nukeball team, but they are effectively the managers, and they do supply all of our needs for it, so they do kind of have a say here, but I don't want to be called the Humans. Personally, I think the Yellowbrook City Decontaminators would be a great name because we are so good at decontamination. As far as I know, we are the only municipality that has multiple decontamination stations across the town. Yellowbrook City is pretty safe. Heck, you could call us the Yellowbrook City Safe People. That's terrible. We shouldn't use that one, but anything is better than calling a group of robots, mutants, cyborgs, and humans the Humans. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh, and on a related note, could I ask all of you a huge favor? Can you please stop building DIY Nukeball courts in your backyards? I'm not just talking about the dangers of the radiation. I mean, this is the Radlands. We're kind of used to radiation. But do your neighbors really want to fall asleep to the sound of exploding dumpsters whenever you make a goal? Probably not. Yes, you might have the resources, and yes, you have the right to do it because it's your property, but just hear me out. Think of your neighbors. Just be kind and considerate, and maybe keep your plutonium-based ball game on the battlefield where it belongs. I suppose if you found a building that was large enough, you could put an indoor Nukeball stadium in there. I've never seen an indoor game of Nukeball. It probably won't end well, and you will probably need to find a new place to live afterwards, but it's better than the alternative of waking up your neighbors with exploding plutonium. Sorry if I sound a little ornery. I was up all night because I have this new neighbor who is a huge Nukeball fan, and it was just so loud. I can't be the only person who's upset by this. I don't know who this person is, but I would really love for them to stop. I doubt they listen to the show, but if you know someone who has an outdoor homemade Nukeball battlefield, could you just ask them to, I don't know, not? I would greatly appreciate it. Well, that storm sure sounds like it's getting closer. I know I'm all set to hunker down for a few days until the storm passes. I've got my emergency decontamination kit just in case the dome leaks, but this building is pretty safe. Weatherbot 95 and I sealed this place so we could survive nearly anything. I have a huge vault door that won't open unless I open it from the inside. It's airtight, it's water sealed, and I have my own supply of oxygen just in case we lose power too. And I have my battery backup. I do kind of worry about people who live outside the protective dome. Max the Millions is going to be fine. They have their own system for safety. And I know I talk a lot of shit about Rough Roxanne, but she lives outside the dome with all of her people as well, and I hope they're okay. Life barely survived on this planet, and I would like all life to survive. I don't wish anybody harm. I hope all of you understand that. Don't get me wrong, I don't like Rough Roxanne. She's a raider, and she's therefore dangerous. But as far as I know, she's never hurt anybody. I just hope everybody is safe. But for those of you who can't make it back inside the protective dome, you should check out the high school gymnasium. It should be unlocked because it's been abandoned for decades, but the high school gymnasium has most of a roof and the windows are still intact. Sure, there might be graffiti all over the building, but it's been described as pretty tasteful and a real family experience. You'll find deflated basketballs and most likely some expired red-flavored sports drinks. But it's as safe as you can be out there unless you find an actual fallout shelter that isn't already crawling with irradiated monsters. So if you can make it, Yellowbrook is a safe place, and we've got decontamination stations if you do end up getting caught in the rain. But if you can't make it, head over to the high school gymnasium. Of course, Grand Reverend Supreme has been talking about the oncoming storm as if it's the end of the world. I'm sorry, he just doesn't give up. The world already ended. It did. But he thinks the world is going to end sometime in the future, and this fallout coming is kind of more evidence for him. Now, he's not wrong. Oh. There it is. There's the storm. Okay, he's not wrong. It is dangerous, but the world has already ended numerous times. But I am a little worried about this particular storm. You see, we haven't seen fallout in a while. And this isn't just radioactive rain. This means something terrible has happened. And no, I'm not talking about any superstitious nonsense or butterfly effects. I just mean that a bomb went off somewhere. Like a real one. There's no telling where it was, but what did the Courier say again? Something about the war-torn West? So I'm a little worried about this, but I haven't seen any mushroom clouds, and we had a clear sky for a few days. I feel like I would have seen a mushroom cloud if there was one. Just remember to decontaminate if you get rained on, and it's a good practice to decontaminate once in a while anyway. And local teenager Maddie Harbinger was arrested yesterday after they broke into the old Costco shopping center outside of town. Reports vary, but witnesses claim they saw young Mr. Harbinger and his friends leaving the defunct grocery chain with their multiple arms full of expired dried goods, a spiked baseball bat, and several cans of emergency evaporated water. Just add water. Now, my fellow Radlanders, as far as I know, no one has laid claim to the old store, and without locks on those doors, I don't really think it's considered a break-in. They simply walked in and took some supplies. That sounds like scavenging to me, and scavenging isn't a crime. I do it all the time. Look at me rhyming like I'm some kind of courier with a secret code. Hilarious. Anyway, local authorities arrested Maddie and his friends, and I don't think they have any business arresting these kids for just trying to survive. We don't really have all that many laws here. I mean, murder is still illegal, but everything else is kind of a gray area. If local authorities keep arresting our city's youth, then they're going to run away to somewhere else. Now, it's okay if they go to Lithium City or if they run away to Max the Million's place. They'd be safe there, and we all like them, it's fine. But what if they run away to New Spring City? Then we lose all of the culture and life that they bring to us. Pop-punk music, half-eaten school lunches, flaming bags of radioactive waste left on our doorsteps. I could do without the childish pranks, but all things considered, I think that's a pretty small price to pay to have a guaranteed future generation in Yellowbrook City. I mean, come on. We all had our youth, right? We all did things we're not proud of. I mean, I was a pretty good kid. I'm not going to get into it, but my brother and I were kicked out of a few towns down by the Forgotten Coast. I'm not going to tell you where or what towns. Also, it's the Forgotten Coast, and I'm not sure anybody actually knows where that is, so it probably doesn't matter. I'm just living proof that no matter how much the world has ended, kids will always be kids. Alright, I've got a message here from Literally Maddie, who asks, does the station need more staff? Maybe some people to help on the broadcast or around the station? Literally Maddie, thank you so much for writing into the show, and thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. Well, there's always something going on with this building. I probably could use some more help with the structural damage that's left over from World War X. My studio is nice and safe and sealed, but the rest of the building is a complete and utter disaster. When I first started working here at Wasteland Free Radio, 5 of the walls were missing, and there were holes in the floor and the roof. Honestly, I think that's how the station beast got in here originally. But according to salvage law, this is her place. I just kind of rent a room and clean up after her, and I try to stay out of her way. So I guess I could use some help with the station beast. She's pretty easy to feed, and she usually does her business outside, but her droppings tend to be pretty large, and they also tend to be invisible. It's a real pain trying to clean up after her when you can't see it. It's not a job for the faint of heart. So if anybody would like to lend some assistance in my invisible animal cleanup, that would be fantastic. Well, here's an email from local authorities about the incoming radioactive storm. I swear, if they're warning us about this storm after we all already know it's coming, it really shows how effective they are as leaders. They're not really leaders. We all know that. They think they are, and they have been tasked with taking care of humanity. What they forget is that we're not all human, as I've already said. Anyway, so their email says, oh no. Well, I guess our decontamination stations are already at capacity. I mean, I'm glad all of you are staying safe, but I guess I didn't expect everyone to listen to science on this. Experience has taught me otherwise. Okay, well, if you can't get to a decontamination station, it's better to take cover wherever you are and try to stay dry, I guess. Anyway, stay safe and covered out there, and remember to decontaminate as soon as you can if you do get stuck outside. There might be a line if you're going to one of the public decontamination stations, though. Maybe I'll cozy up with the station beast and read a good book for the night. Guys, when it rains radioactive isotopes, it pours radioactive isotopes. That's the sound of the protective dome shorting out. And since the decontamination stations are already full, we are probably looking at a radioactive incident. Putting a black mark on our record, and you know how important that is to me. I mean, I know I'll be fine. This station is as watertight as any building in the Radlands. Weatherbot 95 and I made sure of that. I've got plenty of food, my own decontamination kit, only one though. So if something does happen, I know I will be fine. I hope all of you will be too. Alright, taking you out today is a band from... So, that's my proximity alarm. That means someone's coming. I swear, if this is Rough Roxanne with her anti-decontamination bullshit in the middle of a storm like this, with literally radiation raining down on us, I'm gonna lose it. Nope. No. Hey, no thanks. Please keep going. I'm not gonna open my door. I am not dumb enough to open my studio when it's literally raining radioactive isotopes outside. Okay? Thanks. Okay, this song is from... Listen, whoever you are, I'm not opening the door. I really would. I feel bad that you're stuck out there in the rain. Under the protective dome, we're supposed to be safe. But I only have one decontamination kit here between me and the station beast. So I'm sorry, but I just can't open the door, you understand? Go check out the high school gymnasium, or go hide out with Grand Reverend Supreme or something. I know he's weird and he's probably dangerous, but just hide out in his mannequin factory somewhere and you'll be fine. Okay, taking you out today. This is ridiculous. All of my friends are safe. I don't know who would be trying to get in here right now. This is unbelievable. Do I know you?
You've never seen my face. I'm known only by my voice in this place. You don't need to be such a worrier. It's only me, your friendly neighborhood courier. This promise I make, you have nothing to fear. Please let me in. It's a little gross out here.
I hope I don't regret this.
Hey, could you do me a huge favor and leave your horse, in the hallway? They don't have to wait outside, in the hallway. Just, there's a lot of, fragile and sensitive things in here, and the last thing I want is horsehair in my coffee, so...
Okay, as long as I keep them in the other room and keep that door sealed, it doesn't matter that they've been outside in the fallout. Okay. Oh, I can see in the camera they're holding up a decontamination kit for themselves. Awesome.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you use that now, and then I'll let you in? Awesome.
I don't have a mic in that room. I don't know what they're saying right now. You know, I kind of feel bad for being rude earlier. I guess I better apologize when they get in. I hope they're not mad. Okay. It looks like I've got a guest for my next show, so come back next time for my interview with the Courier, I guess. Taking you out today is a new wave indie pop duo from Portland, Oregon. They're called Camp Crush, and this is their song, Shadows. Stay dry and stay safe out there. I'm the Lone Transmitter, and you've been listening to Wasteland Free Radio. Wasteland Free Radio is written and produced by J.S. Pitcher, and our background, intro, and outro music this season is by 11D7, and you can find them at 11d7isalive.com. The featured artist for this episode was Camp Crush with their song Shadows, currently available on all major platforms, and you can support them directly at campcrush.bandcamp.com, and you can find them on Instagram at campcrush. We love supporting independent musical artists, so if you're a musician or if you play in an independent band and you want your music featured on the show, please send it our way. Send an email to wastelandfreeradio@gmail.com. We'll check out the music, we'll see if it fits the vibe, and if we can find a place for it in an episode, we absolutely will. Thank you so much for the submissions we've had already. It means a lot that people want to contribute to this project. You can follow us on Instagram at Wasteland Free Radio, and if you liked the show, please leave a review or a comment or a rating. It really does help the show out, and it helps us show up to the algorithm. Hooray, the algorithm! Thanks again for listening, and remember, get yourself a wood stove, because you might not be able to find crude oil in the apocalypse, but almost anybody can learn how to fell a tree.